Hello everyone, my name is UltimoFive, and today we are going over the Tenet Cycron, the Crowd Melter. The Tenet Cycron is a Tenet version of the Cycron, and is obtained by either vanquishing a sister Parvos or trading from a player's sister that they already conquered. Has a max rank of 40, and in order to obtain this level, the player must form the weapon at least 5 times. Due to this feature, the player gains a total of 4,000 mastery points rather than 3,000, and the builds in this guide only require 3 forma. And the Tenet Cycron excels in short-range combat, dealing with high-leveled enemies of all factions and small to extremely large crowds. With this weapon, the player gets an option of having a bonus Tenet element, which caps at 60% based off the progenitor Warframe you choose to spawn the sister Parvos. My recommended Tenet elements would be Radiation and Impact. The Tenet Cycron had some buffs when compared to the original Cycron. These stats would be higher base damage, higher critical chance, and a higher status chance. Advantages for the weapon would be that it has an extremely high status chance, an innate 1 meter punch through, pinpoint accuracy, the beam can chain up to 2 nearby enemies within 7 meters of each other, and ammo regens over time after a 1 second delay of not firing. Disadvantages, however, for the weapon would be that it has a below average critical multiplier, damage ramps up from 30% to 100% over 0.6 seconds when firing, and after firing stops for 0.8 seconds the damage decays back to 30% over 2 seconds, and a limited range. The elements for the Tenet Cycron against a Corpus would be Magnetic Heat or Viral Heat. Magnetic amplifies shield damage by 100% and nullifies regen of shields for 6 seconds, which stacks up to 10 times for a total of 325%. The build's flex slot is primed to expel Corpus and works great. It is very weird that Heat actually works well against a Corpus, but it ends up working out better than Radiation Viral due to the innate heat damage that is on this weapon. After it gets a couple stacks, it ends up just melting enemies away like their shields mean nothing. The elements for the Tenet Cycron against a Corrupting Grineer will be Viral and Heat. Viral amplifies health damage by 100% for 6 seconds and stacks up to 10 times for a total of 325%. The build's flex slot is primed to expel Corrupted Grineer and is great. It works practically like the Kuvan core, in which it just melts the Corrupting Grineer away through Viral Heat. There isn't much else to say, other than that the Tenet Cycron is practically the sister weapon of the Kuvan core. However, the Tenet Cycron is a little less powerful, but still gets the job done. The element for the Tenet Cycron against the Infested would be Viral and Heat. Heat deals 50% base damage per second over 6 seconds, while stripping up to 50% armor and causes targets to panic. The build's flex slot is primed to expel Infested and works pretty well. It is about the same as the Corpus, except Heat is common against the Infested. However, if one wants to use gas just to have a little bit of fun, then one can do so, because it still works out pretty good. This Condition Overload build is based off of Radiation Tenet Cycron, which was also used in my previous builds. This is mainly here for those that don't want to farm a whole new Tenet Cycron just for utilizing a Condition Overload melee build. The way the build is set up is to get all 3 statuses as quickly as possible, and the build can quickly stack all 3 elements in 10 ammo due to how it is set up with the help of Seeker to increase the amount of statuses put onto enemies and increases the amount of enemies you can apply statuses to as long as they are all aligned. This Condition Overload build is based off an Impact Tenet Cycron, which only requires 1 forma to use. The way this build is set up is to get all 4 statuses as quickly as possible by utilizing the usage of Hemorrhage to get slash procs 35% of the time when you land an impact proc. This can be tremendous in the late game due to giving the player an additional 80% melee damage boost on that enemy compared to those that use Magnetic or Radiation as a progenitor for Condition Overload builds. Along with this, if you don't land a slash proc, then the build will still be on par with builds that suggest Magnetic or Radiation. Split Chamber, in place of Galvanized Chamber if you don't have access to the mod through Arbitration. Hornet Strike, in place of Galvanized Shot if you don't have access to the mod through Arbitration. Target Cracker, Pistol Gambit, Heated Charge, and Expel mods, in place of their primed counterparts if you don't have them. Lethal Torrent, in place of the build's Expel Faction mod if you don't like using faction mods. And Sack Some Spittle or Concussive Rounds in place of Pummel if you don't have it or just want to use them. There are several ways to enhance critical stats and damage for this weapon. For instance, for damage, Rhino's Roar, Nova's Molecular Prime, which makes all sources of damage increase by 100% against primed enemies, Mirage's Eclipse mixed with her Hall of Mirrors as a massive damage bonus during the day or in light, Saren's Toxic Lash mixed with her Spores abilities, Equinox's Rest and Rage in day form makes targets more vulnerable to damage, Wisp's Haste Reservoir, which bolsters fire rate in turn increasing DPS, and Chroma's Vex Armor, when health gets damaged, increases weapon damage. For critical stats, Harrow's Covenant can add up to 50% critical chance and 200% on headshots. Bolt's Electric Shield when shot through adds a 200% critical damage multiplier. Zephyr's passive increases critical chance by 150% while airborne. Urali's passive increases critical chance by 100% after moving around for at least 1.5 seconds. The Adarza Kavat with Cat's Eye can give a 60% critical chance boost, and Smita Kavat with Charm can give a 200% crit chance. Arcane Precision. Upon headshot, 100% chance for 300% damage of pistols for 18 seconds. Arcane Awakening. Upon reloading, 60% chance for 150% damage of pistols for 24 seconds. Arcane Avenger. Upon getting hit, 21% chance for 45% critical chance for 12 seconds. Arcane Arachne. Upon wall latch, 150% damage for 30 seconds. Secondary Merciless. On kill, 30% damage for 4 seconds, which stacks up to 12 times and comes with 30% reload speed and 100% max ammo. This arcane I would say is more beneficial to the Tenet Cycron due to how much harder it would be to get headshot kills with the other arcane. And Secondary Dexterity. On melee kills, 60% damage for 20 seconds, which stacks up to 6 times and comes with 7.5 second combo duration increase and a 60% holstering speed. This arcane is purely for the Condition Overload build with either the Radiation or Impact Tenet Cycron. When you get your hands on a Riven for this weapon, the flex slot to replace would be what was previously discussed before. This may require one more forma, and in order to maximize damage output with Tenet Cycron, one will need to get lucky and get some nice stats. These ideal stats would be critical chance, critical damage, fire rate, and negative zoom or weapon recoil. For the Condition Overload builds, I wouldn't suggest putting on a Riven. However, if one still wants to, the recommended stats for only the Condition Overload builds would be Punch Through, Multi-Shot, Status Chance, and negative zoom or weapon recoil. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more guides on Warframe, please click the like and sub buttons to let me know. And as per usual, I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.